But just as we're starting, find your comfortable seat and find your heart. Let your awareness settle into the place of the heart, which is not just that physical experience of what it means to live in your body. But the heart center energetically is where we experience connection, loving connection of all sorts. So it's how we can have the experience of knowing exactly how someone else feels, because we have the same capacity for those feelings within us. And when we touch that vulnerable place in the heart that says, I know what it is to feel deeply. And we can hold that open for the feelings that are happening for someone else, even if we don't know them, right? We do it more often when it's someone we do know. It's a very powerful practice to just hold your heart open for all beings, any being who is in that state of really deep feeling. So finding your heart doesn't mean that you have to try and gather something up to give away to someone, that you have to somehow try and make that feeling feel better or different. It's not the point of finding the heart. Finding the heart is not to try and change anything. It's to just open that space even wider and say, even though you are struggling, even though this is painful, even though it's deeply shaky ground, that you're not in it alone. You'll never be in it alone. So we hold that for not only the beings who are currently in body, but those beings who are not. Right? Love does not stop because the body changes. Love doesn't stop because the year changes or the season changes. This is another way for us to experience that infinite self, is to no longer look at what's happening outside and say, well, because of this, I must feel this way. But instead to go to the heart center that says, this is what it means to feel. Feel my connection to all beings. Feel my connection to myself as a being. Feel my connection to that infinite space. And to know that I am never alone. So dedicating this class to everyone in body and not in body who is on their journey to finding their grace, their freedom, and what we call enlightenment, that full connection to that infiniteness that is love. That's nothing but love. So in our own tiny human way, tap into that. Let your heart sit with that. And if the hands are not already at the heart, bring them there, either palms together or palms flat to the heart, your choice. We'll open with the sound of Om, deep breath in. And let the eyes float open or let them remain closed, up to you. Stay seated, let your hands come to your knees or your thighs, and then begin to circle your torso, making nice little or big spirals, but circle your torso. The yogic way of saying that someone has passed is we say that the person gave up the body. It means they said, okay, I can there's no longer work for me to do in this particular limited form. So let me become my unlimited form. So I can continue my learning. I can continue my expansion. I can continue to meet that big consciousness as it is. It's an interesting thing, right? To say it that way, that they gave up the body as though it's an action that they took or an action that is being taken and not something that happened to them. It's not something that happens to us. Move your torso the other way. The same way, it's easy to say, we often in our culture say when someone has passed, oh, so-and-so lost someone. Well, you didn't lose them. It's not like you forgot where they went. You haven't lost the meaning that they had in your life. You haven't lost the feelings that were inspired by them. You haven't lost your memories. What you are missing maybe is that physical presence. But to even change just the way our mind looks at the experience of someone transitioning, someone passing. Slowly come back to center, please. Inhale the arms up to the sky, deep breath in. Then twist to your right, left hand to outer right knee, right fingertips behind you. As you exhale, draw the navel towards the spine. Feel that connection to that solidness inside. Good, and then inhale the arms back up to the sky, reach. Exhale to the left, right hand to left knee, left hand back behind you. Again, as you're exhaling, draw the navel to the spine so you feel where there's that point where there's a solidness. And then inhale the arms up to the sky again. Twist to your right, left hand to right knee, right hand behind you. Again, finding the full exhale here, where again, you are feeling yourself squeezing into the spine. And then inhale the arms back up. And exhale to the left, right hand to left knee, left hand behind you. Again, squeezing into the spine. Good. Inhale the arms up again, twisting one more time to the right, left hand to right knee, right hand behind you. Good. And then keeping the left hand where it is, float the right arm up alongside your ear, then lean towards that upper left-hand corner of your mat. So lean on the diagonal and keep pressing that left hand into your right knee. So again, you stay in that really stable place. Draw the navel towards the spine, open that right upper chest a little wider. That's it. Good. And then as you exhale, release that right hand for the left knee. So cross the hands in front of you, cross the arms, drop your chin towards your chest, round into your back and pull up through the back of your rib cage. Nice. And then slowly unwind everything, dropping the shoulders, unwinding the arms, stretch the arms up alongside your ears, and then twisting to your left, right hand to left knee, left hand back behind you. Good. And I really want you to let your emotional self just sort of flow today. That's part of keeping the heart open, is to not try and say, oh, well, I'm supposed to feel this way for someone. Or holding space means I can't have my own emotions. I have to just let them have theirs. No, let your heart flow with whatever is there. We hear about something challenging happening for someone, and guess what? It triggers everything in us that we think is similar. Left hand comes up off the floor, please. And then lean towards that upper right-hand corner of the mat. Good. And then pressing that hand into the knee, draw the navel in, again, lifting the left upper chest open just a little bit wider. Good. Nice. And then as you exhale, release that hand again, crossing the body, both arms crossed, drop the chin towards your chest, round into your back. Nice, Perry. Good, Harriet. Nice, Laura. So I want you to let your heart flow with whatever is there. If it's your own experience of grief, let that flow. If it's your own experience of sadness, let it flow. If it's fear, let it flow. Right? Don't hold back what's in the heart. Slowly unwind yourself. Good. Then go ahead and stretch your legs straight out in front of you. Good. Scoot forward just a little bit if you're at the back of your mat. Bend your knees and plant your feet. If you're up on a blanket, move that to the side. Good. Hands back behind you, fingers pointing towards your heels. Make sure there's a little space between your feet. Good. And then bend your elbows. So as you bend your elbows, you can drop your weight in towards your hands, and then squeeze the upper arms just a little bit. And with the elbows still bent, start to lift your chest up towards the ceiling. So you feel that lift from the back of the heart rising up, and then press the top of your head a little longer so you get a long throat. Good. Navel towards your spine, press into your feet. So feel your legs engage, and then lift your hips as you press into your hands and straighten your arms, come into reverse table. Good. So some of you are going for a straight reverse plank, which is okay. A little nicer on the lower back to start in reverse table. Good. Deep breath. Again, pressing into your feet so you feel that feeling of lift through your butt. Yeah. And then go ahead and release the hips down to the floor, please. Good. Bring the bottoms of the feet together. Let your knees drop wide. Badakanasana. Then walk the hands forward in front of you. Forward fold. Good. Press down through your sit bones and back. So as you're leaning forward with your torso, feel as though you are wiggling your butt backwards. Nice. And continue to let whatever is inside of you to flow. Our challenge is that we hold things back too much, too often. It doesn't mean that there has to be a conflict between I feel this way and you feel that way, but by allowing ourselves to let everything flow, as we're no longer driven by that withheld feeling, the emotions are not driving us to resolve themselves, but they find their resolution in the world in quieter ways, easier ways. So it doesn't get you out of doing anything or feeling anything, but it allows it to be a more easeful experience. Didn't say comfortable, just easeful. Walk yourself all the way back up, please. Good. Cross the ankles, roll forward onto hands and knees. Good. Spread the fingers nice and wide. Maybe take your hands slightly wider than your shoulders because we tend to bring them too narrow. And then step your feet back to plank pose, upward push-up. And again, look towards your belly button and draw in and up so that your navel, your rib cage pulls up so you feel that solidness of squeezing up into your spine. This is a big deal, right? Because when we're just in an emotional state, is we tend to feel that very watery or airy quality. That's the heart center, is the air, right? So we might feel very disconnected or ungrounded. So feel where there's a solidness in you. And then from there, lift your chest a little higher, lift the back of your throat. You're still in plank, I know. Keep pulling up through your inner thighs, keep pressing down into your hands. Nice. And then squeeze the hands and the feet towards each other. Good. And from your belly, you're below your belly button, lift your hips and come back to downward facing dog. So draw the thighs back in space, but keep moving from your abdominals. Nice. And then lift the back of your throat again. Feel like you are equally pressing down through the knuckles of your hands and the balls of your feet. And then have that subtle squeezing together of the wrists and the ankles. Nice. Right leg comes up and back behind you, down dog split. Good. Step that right foot forward between the hands, lunge. Good. Both hands inside the front foot. Walk your fingertips forward so that you are in that extended arm position. So again, almost like a down dog in your lunge. Extended sort of lizard pose. So up on your fingertips. Then lift your chest just a little higher. Deep breath in. As you exhale, lion's breath. Tongue comes out. Eyes wide open. Good. And then walk your hands back in, please. Drop the back heel, baby toe parallels back of your mat. Warrior two, cartwheel the arms up so that shoulders come on top of the hips. Arms are wide. Nice. Again, feel the solidness of pressing down into your feet. And continue to let whatever is flowing through you flow through you, but connect to that solidness. And then bring the left hand down the back thigh, right palm spins up and back, reverse warrior. Lifting your right hip point just a little higher up off of your thigh, and then letting your thigh descend just a little deeper. Yeah, really nice, you guys. And then bring yourself back to center, arms nice and wide. Good. Right forearm comes onto the front thigh, left arm comes over the ear, side angle. Good. Again, keeping the front knee moving towards the front ankle. So again, you're dropping that thigh as close to parallel as you can. Good. Put your strength there in the really solid parts of your body. Good. Connect to that strength. Good. And then bring yourself all the way back up to warrior two. Straighten that right thigh, please. Trikonasana. Extend out through the right rib cage. Reach. Squeezing the legs together. Pause. And then let that right hand touch down as you lift the left rib cage open a little bit more. Good. So left arm comes to the sky, but you're really twisting open through that left side rib cage, left side hip. Good. Take the left arm over the ear, reaching towards the top of your mat. Draw the navel in towards your spine and press into your back heel more. Get those legs really engaged. Now float the right arm up as well. So both arms reach towards the top of your mat. Nice, Ann. You got it, Virginia. Good, Andy. Beautiful, you guys. And then bend the right knee. Come all the way back up to warrior two. Yeah, your breath is getting deeper. Good job. Drop the left hand down the back thigh. Turn the right palm up. Reverse warrior. Try not to think your way through your practice today, but feel. Whatever the feelings are, let them flow. And then come all the way back up. Nice. Straighten the right leg, please. Turn your right toe same direction as your left, so your feet are parallel to the short edges of your mat. Good. And then reach behind you, hold opposite elbows, or reach for reverse prayer if that's where you're going today. Good. Deep breath in. And as you exhale, bow forward, Prasarita Padottanasana. Good. So the feet should be facing straight ahead, toes facing straight ahead. Nice, you guys. Good. Feel yourself drawing the chest up and wide. So collarbones up and wide. That's going to bring the shoulder blades more towards the back of the heart, but it's not a squeeze, it's a hug, right? It's a hug from the outer edges of your shoulder blades, the outer edges of your armpits. Nice. Good. Release the hands all the way down to the floor, please. Plant that right hand right underneath your gaze. Take the left arm up to the sky. Push into that right hand as you reach the left arm up. Pull that right inner thigh wider to the right. Excellent. Good. And then release and switch. Left hand finds the floor. Press down. Take the right arm up to the sky. Good. Pull your left inner thigh wider to the left. Awesome. And then release that hand down to the floor, please. Beautiful. Walk yourself towards the top of your mat. Right toes turn forward. Spin the left heel up. Step back, downward facing dog. Good. Come forward to plank pose, upward push up. Yeah, pause there. Again, you can look back towards your belly button so that you get that feeling of pulling the rib cage up in towards the spine, pulling the abdominals up, the inner thighs up. And then once you've got that feeling of curling in, as you push through those hands, lift your collarbones forward and up. So it's going to feel like you're trying to do two opposite things. You're trying to pull your ribs up, but also lengthen your spine forward. Nice. Yeah. Lift the back of your throat. Beautiful. And then lower down slow, coming through knees first if you need. Good. Rise up cobra, lift head, neck, and chest, pointing the toes back behind you. Nice. And then exhale, release, please. Press back up to hands and knees. And come back to child's pose. Knees go wide, big toes together to touch, hips back to your heels. The quote I've been used yesterday, or that's been something I'm working with, says, love isn't a state of perfect caring. It's an active noun like struggle. To love someone is to strive to accept that person exactly the way he or she is right here and now. And that concept that love is an active noun, it's not something that you do once and it just stays that way. But it's that continuous finding the places in your heart that are open. Continuously finding the places in your heart that connect to other beings, whether they are in body or not, whether you know them well or not, whether you want to know them well or not. Right? The practice of the yogi or the spiritual path is that, yeah, we can do all of this work so that we have a better time in our own individual life in its small circle. It's like the yogi's promise is that whatever you do for yourself in your own small circle, you'll remember to do in some measure for those that you will never meet. Because it's for you having your heart that open. It's for you that benefit comes. And it will benefit those others too, but it's through them that you learn how to have a heart that's completely open. And with that comes that feeling of struggle. How do I accept this person? How do I accept this moment? How do I accept what's happened that was out of my control? And that's every day, accepting things that are out of our control. Walk yourself all the way back in. Downward facing dog. So yoga's suggestion is to not get lost in that flow of emotion, allow it to happen, but to also connect to that steadiness that exists inside within all of that. And it's not always easy to find, but breath by breath, we can find it. We can look for it. Squeeze your hands and your feet towards each other. Again, that feeling of strength. Good. And then left leg comes up and back behind you, down dog split. Yeah. Step that foot forward between the hands, lunge. Good. Take both hands inside the front foot. And again, walk your fingers forward so that you are in that long extended spine. Good. Up on the fingertips, pulling the hips up and back. Again, almost like down dog, but you're in lunge. Feel the back of your throat lifting a little bit more. So Dina, especially back of the throat lifts. Yeah, there you go. Good, you guys. And then a deep breath in, look forward as you exhale, lion's breath, stick out the tongue, open the eyes wide, exhale. Nice, really good, Meryl. Nice, Becca. And then walk your hands back in, please. Good, drop the back heel, baby toe parallels back of your mat. Take the shoulders over the hips for warrior two, arms out wide. Excellent. Good. Drop the right hand down the back thigh, left palm spins up and back, reverse warrior. Really nice, you guys. Keep that front knee moving forward as you reach towards the back of your mat. And then come all the way back up to warrior two, arms wide. And then let the left forearm come onto the front thigh. Stretch the right arm over the ear, extend. Good. Still letting that front knee move forward. So again, don't hang back here. Send your pelvis a little bit more towards that front heel and let your front thigh really drop. Good. Really nice, Lena. And then come all the way back up to warrior two. Good. Straighten your front thigh, please, for Trikonasana. Then extend that left rib cage long. So reach out as long as you can as you squeeze your feet towards each other. And then let the left hand touch down towards the floor. Take the right arm up towards the sky. Good. Remembering here that you're not just reaching down and up, but that you're rotating your right rib cage, rotating the top of that right hip up and wide. Nice. Good, Anne. Nice, Andy. Nice, Allison. Really good, Heidi. Beautiful, Beth. Nice, Melody. Good, you guys. Stretch that right arm over the ear. So again, getting longer through that right side. So as you reach that right arm over the ear, extend your ribs a little longer. And then press into that baby toe edge of the back foot. So again, the legs are really engaged, navel to spine. Take the left arm up underneath your ear. So both arms are reaching towards the top of your mat. And get longer, navel to spine, extend longer. Don't get short because this is challenging. Good. And then bend the left knee, cartwheel the arms back up to warrior two. I know it's harder to come up out of that than it is to go down. The story of our life. Right hand reaches down the back thigh, left palm spins up and back, reverse warrior. Good. Connect to where there is inner steadiness, inner strength, even if everything else in you feels like it is falling apart. Let it fall apart all around that strength. Come back to center, please. Good. Straighten the front thigh again. Turn your left toe same direction as your right. So you come back to that wide-legged stance. And then reach behind you to hold opposite elbows with the other arm on top, or come back to reverse prayer if that is your choice today. And then a nice deep breath in, send the tops of your thighs back. So don't push forward, draw back. And then take that forward fold, lengthening your spine the entire way. Good. Feel your feet spreading wide. So all 10 toes spreading wide. And every breath you take is a remembrance, a dedication to all those beings that find it difficult to breathe, that find the next breath a little challenging. And if one of those beings that finds this next breath a little challenging is you, well, then this is for you. We breathe for each other. There's a joke that Cheryl and I were just saying yesterday is, wouldn't it be great if we could just have our groups and we knew they're like, hey, I'll handle this hard thing for you and you handle this hard thing for me. Just hand it off to each other. And in a way, that's what we do. Your heart stays really open. We say, well, we'll handle it together. One more deep breath. And then release the hands down to the floor, please. Nice job. Walk your hands forward in front of you and then bend your knees. So bend your knees a lot, pull your butt back. Good. Keep your knees in line with your ankles. So I should have told you to bend your knees first, is really what I should have done. So bend your knees first, move your butt back behind your heels. So your knees stay in line with your ankles. Drop your thighs low, parallel to the floor if you can. This is tricky in this position. So you got to keep those inner knees wide. And then walk your hands forward any amount. Because I don't want your knees sliding forward towards your toes. So make sure that your hips are really pulling back. Good. Up on your fingertips, please. Cat cow your spine. Keep your knees bent. Good. Nice, Stacy. Nice, Meredith. You got it. Good, Marjorie. I know, drop your hips lower. If it feels like it's really a tricky position, drop your hips as low as you can. Widen your knees. Good. Nice, you guys. And then come to stillness, lifting the chest nice and high, straighten the legs, and then go ahead and walk your hands out just a little bit further. So you're in a very wide-legged downward facing dog. Good. Press through the hands. So even though you are in this wide stance, you still feel the tops of the thighs pulling back. I like to imagine those advertisements for the yoga straps that connect to the walls. Imagine you've got one of those pulling to the tops of the thighs back. Yeah, tractioning the spine. Nice, you guys. Good. And then walk your hands back in underneath the shoulders, walk back towards the top of your mat, left toes turn forward, spin your right heel up. Good. And then keep both hands inside the front foot, start to make circles with that hip. The joke yesterday was your circles can be as big or as small as you want. But see how much movement you can find in your pelvis. And this concept of the inner steadiness, we sometimes interpret as being, well, I have to shut out everything that makes me feel shaky or vulnerable. And the practice says, no, 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 don't do that. Don't shut out what makes you feel shaky and vulnerable. Let that be there. And within that shaky, vulnerable place, can you find where there is still a point that is steady? So you keep letting yourself fall through that until the steadiness arises, even if it takes days or weeks for that to happen. Good. Come back to stillness, please. Good. Drop that back knee down to the floor, and then let your left knee drop wide. Come onto the baby toe edge of that foot. And walk your hands forward any amount, dropping down to the elbows if you'd like, or staying on your fingertips. Love is an active noun like struggle. And the truth is that we are never done with it. Even when we think I've got it figured out in this circumstance, in this, with this person, with this experience, we are never done with it. Nice, you guys. If you can, stay on your forearms. If you're there, stay, or stay on your hands wherever you are, but reach your left arm up to the sky. So take a spinal twist. And again, if you can stay on the forearm, go for it. Keep your pelvis moving forward in front of that back knee. Press into your back knee so it feels like both legs are engaged. And then chest open, throat moves back. Nice, Rachel. Good, Teresa. And then release that hand down to the floor. Please walk yourself back up. Good, take that foot to flat. Lift the back knee, please. Step back to downward facing dog. Awesome. And then step the right foot forward in front of you. Lunge. Take both hands inside the front foot. Start to circle that hip. And just finding where there is the opportunity for mobility. In Kundalini Yoga, the word that's given for the true nature of us, the spiritual nature of us, is akal, the undying. Remembrance that our experience in the body will change and change and change and change and change, but nothing is ever lost. Because the nature of you is undying. So we celebrate that in each other. The journey doesn't end, the love doesn't end. And whatever your particular beliefs about death and dying and all of that may be, I think we can maybe agree that the love never ends. Good. Come back to stillness, please. Drop that back knee down to the floor and then flex the right foot a lot. Drop onto the baby toe. Let your knee go wide. And then go ahead and walk your hands forward any amount, maybe coming down to the forearms or onto blocks. Can you come to a place where the love in your heart is what is undying? Never fades, never wavers. Maybe it seems to ebb and flow at times, but it's never lost. Strive to accept the way things are here and now. What it means to keep practicing for an open heart with an open heart. Keep the back of your throat slightly lifted here, you guys, so that you're not creating stress or tension for the shoulders. Good. And then wherever you are, whether you're on your forearms or your hands, keep the left hand or forearm planted, take the right arm up to the sky, twist. And as you twist, maybe let that knee drop open even a little wider, but then press into your back thigh just a little bit so that your left hip is not dropping towards the floor. It actually lifts a little higher. That's it, Lisa. Nice, you guys. Good. Release that hand to the floor. Walk yourself back up onto the hands. Take that right foot to flat and then lift the back knee and step that left foot forward, top of your mat. Good. Separate the feet as wide as your mat. Turn the toes out, both feet 45 degrees. Bend your knees, come down, squat. You got it. Nice. Plant the right hand inside the right foot. Take the left arm up to the sky, twist. And then if you'd like to go for the bind, turn that left palm to face back, reach all the way around the back of your body to find that outer right hip. And if you want the full bind, slide that right shoulder a little lower, wrap the forearm in front of the shin. So not underneath the leg, but in front, and reach around to try and find that hand. And again, if any of that sounds like a bad idea, just stay where you are. Nice, Becca. Good, Maral. You got a nice choice, Anju. Beautiful. Slowly release, please. Take your hands to the floor, straighten your legs for a moment. Turn your toes forward. Yeah. And then bend your knees, draw your thighs back parallel towards the floor again, and walk your hands in towards your feet so that you can bring your hands to the backs of your heels. So like thumb and first finger. So inside, so walk inside the legs, so your arms come inside. And then like you can take the thumb and first finger heel to the back of your heel. So that little crescent of your fingers presses into the back of your heel. You got it, Maral. Yep, in the right place. So bend your knees deep. Yeah, like a little bug. Good. Lift your chest up just a little more. So don't let your hips go lower than parallel to the floor. Yeah, and then lift your chest and lift your throat. Good. And now for fun, if you want to, take a couple of steps forward with your hands in the back of your heels in this weird little bug position. Yeah, you got it. Nice, Dina. Good. And then come back to stillness, please. Start to straighten the legs, release the hands forward. You got it. Turn your toes out again, 45 degrees, both feet. Bend your knees, come back to squat. You're like, oh my God, why the squatting? Good for you. Left hand inside that left knee. Take the right arm up to the sky, twist. The idea here is to keep opening through the side body, to keep opening, not just wide through the chest, but to lengthen that whole area of the rib cage. So the side waist is a big deal, right? If we're not open there, is that we're going to get a lot of restriction through the legs, and that's going to restrict what happens around the shoulders and the heart. If you want to go for that bind, turn the right palm back, reach all the way around, slide that left shoulder forward, wrap in front of the shin, see if you can find your own hands. And if not, again, one arm is great. Looks good, Allison. Looks good, Andy. Nice, Virginia. Good, Kristen. Nice, Ann. Really good, Beth. Good, Melody. Good, Marjorie. Good, Barry. Nice, Stacy. Excellent, Harriet. Good. Slowly unwind wherever you are. Come on down gracefully to sit. And then feet in front of you. Bend your knees. Feet in front of you. Take the hands back behind you, fingertips pointing towards your feet if you can. Good. And then pressing down into your sit bones, curl into your spine. So round again, make that C shape. We call it like a C curve, right? So hollow everything from the base of your pubis bone all the way up through your ribs. Hollow everything. So not just the belly button, but everything. Make that C shape. Draw the ribs back. Round, round, round. Get your abdominals really, really, really awake. Good. Now, as you press into your fingertips, keep that feeling, but lift your chest nice and tall. Draw the upper arms back and wide so your chest is super open. Good. And then engage those thigh bones, pull them up. Feel like you're sucking them up into your pelvis and lift the toes up off the floor. Good. Hands are still on the ground. This is boat pose, right? So your feet lift up off the floor, shins parallel. Keep that C curve. So don't start to do that thing where you push forward through your ribs and shorten your back. Stay with the abdominals to the spine. And if that means your hands don't leave the floor today, don't let your hands leave the floor, but keep your chest lifted. Stay towards that front edge of your sit bones. Yeah, pull the knees in towards your belly, lift your belly up towards your knees. And then if you can maintain that without strain, go ahead and straighten the legs. I didn't say take your hands off the floor, straighten your legs first. And then if you can maintain that without strain and you want to take your hands up off the floor, go for it. But if the minute you do, your belly or your ribs pop forward and your throat starts to do crazy things and your shoulders tense and your jaw goes nuts, take your hands back to the floor. One more breath. Connect to yourself, but be real. Release your feet down to the floor. Nice job. Plant your hands back behind you again, fingers pointing towards your heels. Separate the feet just a little bit. Bend the elbows. As the elbows are bent, lift your chest a little higher, press into the hands and into the feet, lift your hips up, reverse table. Good. Yeah, I'm sorry, I've gotten into a mode. And then release the hips down to the floor, please. Bottoms of the feet come together, let your knees drop wide. Badakanasana, forward fold. Any way you'd like. You can hold your feet or extend your arms. Any way you'd like. We say in a yoga practice often that we do a lot of standing poses. We do poses like squats and everything to try and get grounded. Very loaded word, right? Grounded, anchored. And again, we can easily interpret that to mean to just shove away anything that feels like it's not solid and heavy and limited, right? That our security somehow is that things have to become clearly limited or clearly defined. There can't be any of that wavering, no weakness. And if that's not you, then great. But I've noticed that in me, that grounding feels like, oh, I have to become stuck in this place where those feelings don't exist, or where I don't feel them. And grounding just means that you are able to become aware that there is a steadiness even within that shaky ground. So find your groundedness in your life, not by trying to make that shakiness go away, but by relaxing into it. Relaxing into vulnerability so that you can find what your real steadiness is, not the steadiness that you have to force yourself to, that feels like a lot of work to get to and then a lot of work to maintain. Don't think that if I just sit and squat for 16 hours a day, I'll be grounded. You have to allow what's inside of you to flow. And the steadiness will be there, but it's there where it realistically is, not where you want it to be, where it is. Walk yourself all the way back up, please. Good. Cross the ankles, roll forward onto hands and knees. Downward facing dog. Good. Take your right leg up and back behind you, down dog split. Nice. And then you're going to bring that knee forward to try. So slide the shoulders forward, bring your knee forward and in towards your chest. Squeeze that knee towards that right elbow, all the way up towards the right armpit. Good. Come as far forward as you can. Squeeze that knee in. And then while you're there, everything's super rounded, right? Look slightly forward and up. So lift the back of your throat. There you go. And then take that leg all the way up and back behind you. Nice. Do it again. Bring that knee forward, hugging it in towards that upper arm as you push the floor away, rounding into your ribs, getting that C curve into your belly. Lift the back of your throat, look slightly forward. You got it. Send that leg all the way up and back. Good. One more time. Bring that knee forward. Same thing. Squeeze it as far forward as you can to touch that elbow, touch your upper arm. Round in and then lift the back of your throat. Look forward. Good. And then take that leg all the way up and back. Nice job. And then swing that knee forward and wide, pigeon pose. Knee goes towards your right wrist. Let the shin cross at whatever angle feels appropriate. Pressing your shin into the floor. Turn that left hip forward just a little bit more so your right low belly can go a little wider. Good. And then let yourself walk forward. Come on down to rest on the forearms, blocks, whatever you'd like. Nice, you guys. Sometimes I give you very obvious cues where we're going. So if you haven't figured out where we're going yet, don't know what to tell you. You'll enjoy the surprise when you get there, I guess. It's a lovely thing. It's why we practice together, right? You all know that, yoga originally was kind of a self-directed thing. And we still say, you know, if you really wanted to benefit you, is you should be practicing every day in some way. And so that means that you kind of have to be in charge of it yourself. You can take a class every day for sure. But we notice the difference, right? When we practice on our own and when we practice in a group. We practice next to other people. And part of that is the shared energy, the shared experience. It's not just me doing this on my own, it's me doing this along with you. And so my energy feeds your energy feeds my energy. And sometimes we get what we need that we don't know that we need, just by being in the presence of someone else. They say that all of the great teachers or the great gurus is that you would know them as a guru even if no one ever told you, because of their presence. That loving nature or that openness is something that's visible on their face. It's visible and it's noticeable, even if you don't know what you're looking at. Your heart knows. It says, oh, there's an openness and an acceptance, an openness that accepts everything about who and what I am. So I can relax. I don't have to worry if someone's going to love me. And that's what we can be for each other as we start to open our own hearts, as we can be that quiet space where you don't have to say or do anything for someone to know that whatever they are going through, there's still love that's coming to them. And it doesn't have to be in that personal way. It can be simply by your presence. You hold that space for whatever is happening. The love doesn't stop. But for us to be that, we have to allow ourselves to feel it. And in the depth of that love, there is all of those currents of the other emotions. They're not separate from. It's a challenge of a yoga practice, right? Is to say, if you want to really understand love, understand bliss, you have to go deep into those emotions that are painful. You can't shut them out, ground them away. So we let them come and we let them go. And if they come again, we let them come again and we let them go again. And when we get stuck, we turn to each other and we remind each other, relax. No matter what, you're still loved. Take one more deep breath. Then walk the hands all the way back up. If you'd like to go for the quad stretch here, you have the opportunity, bend the back knee, reach with either hand for the foot. If you reach for the foot with the right hand, you're going to get a twisting quad stretch. If you reach with the left hand, it's just a good old fashioned regular quad stretch. So your choice if you want to have that twist in your ribs or not at all. Nice, Heidi. Good, Laura. Good. And then slowly release the foot, please. Plant the hands. You just got it. All you need is a breath. And then lift the back knee, please. Come back to downward facing dog. What's, you just need a breath. Vinyasa, if you choose, child's pose if you prefer, or hang out in dog. If you're doing the vinyasa, coming forward to plank, lowering down slow, rising up into cobra, exhaling, downward facing dog. Oh, plank's different. You need more than a breath in plank. Why? Because we never find it quickly. That's the thing. Good, you guys. So you come back to downward facing dog. Stretch your left leg up towards the sky. Down dog split. Good. Bring that knee forward towards your nose as you bring your armpits over your wrist. Try and bring that knee all the way up to touch the left upper arm. High, 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 and squeeze. Good. Now look slightly up with your gaze. Yes. And then take the left leg up and back behind you. Down dog split. Use your breath here. Don't hold it. Bring the knee forward again. Bring it as high up towards that left armpit and arm as you can. And then curl in and lift the back of your throat. Look forward. Yes. Nice, Beth. And then take that leg up and back behind you. Good. Bring it forward again. Knee forward. Reach towards that upper arm. Pull it up high, 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 and squeeze in. Good. And then look forward. You got it, Stacy. Nice, Perry. Good. Take that leg up and back behind you. Good. And then bring that left knee forward and wide. Pigeon pose, second side. or coming down to your back if that's how pigeon works for you today. Good. Set that shin at a don't want to say comfortable, but at a practical angle. And then press down into that shin, full length of the shin. Turn your right hip forward and then go ahead and walk yourself into whatever your supported position is. Good. You know what I say lately, if something we do in classes feels difficult to do, do it every day. And that's equally true for, oh, it feels really difficult to get into your core muscles and work your hip flexors, do it every day, a little bit. Doesn't have to be that you do an excessive amount every day, but do a little bit every day so that there's an increasing awareness and access to those muscles. The same thing for the emotions, for the heart. It feels really difficult to connect to that vulnerable place inside. Do it every day. Just let yourself touch it. You don't have to dig in there and throw doors open and, you know, throw a fit. You can just let yourself touch it and say, okay, I know that's there. I'm not hiding from it. We say that meditation is like, they say, clearing the mirror of the mind, clearing away the dust. And it's also the practice where you can start to clear away that confusion that exists at the level of the heart. What am I supposed to feel here? What am I not supposed to feel? And instead, it just becomes the acknowledgement of, this is what I do feel. This is the feeling that is flowing, and that is my living energy, my prana, right? Emotion is prana, thought is prana. That is my living energy giving me feedback on the experience that I'm having in the world. Can't hide from that. It's your own energy telling you this is what you feel. So the simple acknowledgement of your mind to your heart is an I love you. Without trying to change what that feeling is, you can allow it to flow. And maybe it will touch other places, become something else. The heart is a place of equality where all things are held in wholeness, connection. So that quality of air is one of the things that it does, is that if you let it go into a space, is it will equally disperse itself into that space, no matter how big the space is, right? No matter how big the container. So if your container is small, it will disperse itself in a small way. If your container is big, it will disperse itself in a big way. So your heart is only as limited as you insist that it should be. Your awareness of your heart is only as limited as your mind insists that it should be. So breathe through those vulnerable places. If we're not willing to cry in the middle of our practices, why are we practicing? Because sure, we can try and distract ourselves. Pigeon's a good way to distract yourself. It might work for a little while. And guess what? Your prana will continue to bring to your attention what needs your attention. One of our TTs was teaching one of their sample flows in teacher training yesterday, and they had a very lovely quote, which I will not remember all of it, but it was essentially saying that your suffering and your challenges and all of your emotions, they need you. So go home and be with them. The idea to go home to yourself and be with what's there. And by doing that, we become available to be that sounding board for each other. Take one more breath and then walk yourself back up onto your hands. Opportunity for the quad stretch. If you'd like, bend the back knee, reach back with either hand for the foot of the ankle. Yogi's choice. Sounds like it should be the name of a restaurant or something. Good. And then slowly release, please, planting the hands, tucking the back toes, lift the back knee up. Come back to downward facing dog. Could do a little pedal of your feet, let your hips sway from side to side. Either that or a game show, right? Yogi's Choice is a game show. Yeah. That would work. Good. Nice, you guys. And then step or jump your feet to the top of your mat, please. There you go. I love it when you guys do things in a way that you're like synchronized. We do it exactly the same time. Forward fold. And then we're opportunity for working in crow pose here. So if you like to do crow, you want to try the crow variation where you actually stand up on a block and you have a block, go ahead and grab that. And then move yourself back on your mat just a little bit so that as you set yourself up, you feel pretty safe that there is mat underneath your face, right? Helps us feel safe. Yes, face planting happens. And if you're using the block, your block is flat on the floor on its widest, setting, like it's just a block on the floor. And you're stepping both feet up onto the block. So your feet are going to be very close together. And then you're bending your knees into like a little frog squat. So your knees go wide, you drop your hips, you're up on the balls of your feet if you're using the block. If you're not using the block, similar position, right? So feet can be wider if you're not using the block, but you're coming into that squat position up on your tippy toes, and then finding where you can plant your hands on the floor. Good, as wide as your shoulders. And then as you start to lift your hips up, so lift your hips, push into your feet, get into that C curve of your belly. So curl into the spine, curl into everything from your pubis bone all the way up to your ribs, curl up and in, and then push into those hands, lean your weight forward, let those knees lift and squeeze in. You're squeezing your upper arms and armpits, look forward. Feel that chest lifting up, and then maybe one foot or both comes up either off the block or off of the floor. You can also work this position with one knee at a time. So just keep one foot on the floor, more in that plank position, and work one knee up towards the armpit. Really good, Teresa. Nice, Lisa, I love it. Good. You have to be willing to fall in order to balance in crow. So be willing to fall. Don't try to fall. Nice, Allison. Good. And then slowly come on down. Nice. Take a moment, either in squat or sitting on your knees. And then I'm going to give you the opportunity here that if you want to either come back to crow one more time, and if you love crow and you're really, very comfortable in it, and you want to try a revolved crow pose, I'm going to give you an option for that. So revolved crow, I'm not going to suggest using the block, but if you want to do that, I will walk you through it. So you're either coming back to crow exactly as you just did, or revolved crow is coming to a little chair pose squatting position. So the knees have to be together, feet have to be together, up on your tippy toes. If you're doing that, stay with me. And then you're lifting the arms up, taking both arms to the outside of your right knee. So the hands have to come to the floor like a prayer twist. Bring the hands down to the floor outside that knee. And then it's the same position. You're leaning onto the hands. You're curling into your low belly, bend the elbow slightly. You're stacking your knees on your left elbow, the shelf of your left elbow. So you got to really squeeze in. Yep. Lift your butt, stack those knees, keep your chest up, and then the feet might be able to leave the floor. Right. So that's a twisting crow pose if you'd like, or come back to traditional crow. Kristen, I like what you're doing there. Good. And if you think that this is just crazy talk and you're like, no crow pose for me today, come back to both. Or turn your cameras off and hide. I don't know. Good. Nice. Find your way. If you're doing twisting crow, try it on both sides. So it's the same thing. You're just bringing the arms to the other side of the knees, lifting your butt. So Rachel, lift your butt and then bend your elbows. Yeah. And lift your butt. Yeah. And just keep practicing that and lift the back of your throat. So you get that real strength in your core. You got to bend your elbows more. Yeah. It's a tough one. Twisted crow. Good. Slowly come on back. Nice, Mark. Good. Come on back when you're done. Gracefully come down to sit. Nice, Allison. Really good. If I miss saying great job to whatever you did, great job to whatever you did. Good, Stacy. Come on down to sit gracefully and then stretch your legs out in front of you. I know. Flex the feet, please. Inhale the arms up to the sky. If I don't say gracefully, then the things that happen, not good. Bow forward, please. Paschimottanasana. To be grounded is to be aware. that even within our vulnerability is there is a steadiness that exists. There's a steady place that exists at all times. It will not feel the same at all times. It won't look the same at all times. You can't get to it the same way at all times. We practice grounding poses, what we call grounding poses, in order to take that fluctuating of our prana and to let it regulate a little bit. But that regulation doesn't mean you throw anything out. You just allow there to be a settledness to the flow of emotion, where the mind is no longer panicking over the emotion. Take one more deep breath. As you exhale, really relax in the pose. Thank you. And then walk yourself all the way back up. Nice job. Bend your right knee in towards your chest, please. Good. Step that foot over the left thigh. And then you can either stay here or you can bend the left knee as well and bring that left heel towards your right butt cheek for half Lord of the Fishes. So you're coming into a twist either way. So you can bend both knees if you'd like, or have that left leg extended. Both sit bones should be on the floor though. So if you bend both knees, you should still feel both butt cheeks on the floor. Good. Nice, you guys. Right hand comes back behind you, left arm up to the sky. Twisting towards your right. So you're either hooking that left elbow around the knee or you are using the arm to squeeze the knee in towards your chest. Good. So Perry, just let your left knee come down towards the floor and your foot is like back towards your ankle. So it's okay. You're perfect where you are. It's good. Good. So find your twist. Nice, you guys. Lift the chest a little higher. Beautiful. Kind of lovely that the traditional, if you're doing half Lord of the Fishes and you've got that hand raised and that half prayer, is that your hand is actually in a Abhaya mudra, right? Technically, which means have no fear. The lovely place of the heart open. Have no fear of what that openness brings. Good. Slowly release, please. Unwinding your legs. Stretch your legs out in front of you. Take either a reverse table or here, if you want to come into reverse plank, you can. So either knees bent and the feet planted or legs straight and the toes pointed. Hands back behind you. Press into the hands, lift your hips up. Again, either knees bent or legs straight. If your legs are straight, keep your ankles and feet together. Lift through your inner thighs. Point your toes like your feet are going to come flat to the floor. Good. And chest up. You got to still engage those glutes. Yeah, point your toes, Mark. And then lift inner thighs. That's it. Good. Release the hips down to the floor, please. Really nice, Perry. Good, Heidi. Excellent, you guys. Good. Draw the left knee in towards your chest. Step that foot over the right thigh. And then again, you can bend the right knee as well. So you can either come into that half Lord of the Fishes position. So again, if you're bending both knees, that right thigh is on the floor, right? The knee is on the floor and the heel is curling towards the hip. Good. Nice. Left hand comes back behind you, right arm to the sky. And again, great if you're keeping that right leg extended straight. Take your twist, either hooking the elbow to the outside of the knee or using the arm to squeeze the knee in towards your chest. Good. Chest up. Nice, Stacy. Good, Meredith. Nice, Marjorie. Nice, Laura. Good, Beth. And then consider that that hand is not just there because that's where you always put it, but can you have the thought of what it would be like to live in yourself with no fear? Not that fear doesn't exist, but that fear is never something that causes your heart to close. Good. Slowly release and unwind. Come back to center. Good. Bring the bottoms of the feet together. Let your knees go wide. Badakanasana. Bow forward any way you'd like. Beautiful. Relax your shoulders. It's one of the simplest poses and we can get so wound up trying to do it. Don't get wound up. Relax your shoulders. Good. Then slowly release, coming all the way back up. And then opportunity, if you have a wall for legs up the wall, If you do not have a wall, my apologies. Teasing you. So if you want to come into legs up the wall, you're welcome to do that. If you do not have a wall and you don't want to just lay on the ground with your legs up, is you could put a block underneath your seat in a supported bridge pose. You could also place a block underneath the back of the ribs and underneath the head for supported fish. So those would be other great options. You could come into Supine Badakanasana, laying on your back with the knees together. Sorry, with the feet together and the knees wide. So making a choice for yourself. Nice, Anju, good. Nice, Dina. I would bring, sorry, Becca, I would bring your feet just a little bit closer together. There you go. So they're just as wide as your hips. And arms, if you're in, legs up the wall. Viparita Karani. And put your arms wherever you'd like, either cactus arms or holding opposite elbows overhead. Maybe hands on the heart, hands on the belly. To allow yourself to sink into that feeling of heaviness. We have a term in yoga, Ishvara Pranadhan, that says, I surrender. Surrender to that bigness of the divine, to God, whatever you want to call it. Surrender to that bigness that is full of things that I am not in control of. But that is holding you and me and all beings in body and in not. So we are never disconnected. I surrender to that. I let go of trying to hold myself together. I let go of trying to not fall apart. I let go of whatever I put in front of my vulnerability. And just like this quote that says that love is an active noun, surrender is also an active noun. You don't just do it and you're done with it, as you do it over and over and over and over and over. But those actions are all part of that experience of love. And the love never ends. So we are always looking for that state of surrender. We're always looking to fall into that state of acceptance. We're always looking to fall into that state where there is no barrier between us and that endless love. Unconditional love. No matter what is occurring, no matter what you think you are or you aren't, the love is there. It does not change, does not waver. In the Upanishads, it says you can argue with that. You can try to cut it down and turn it into something else, but it doesn't work. You cannot change the nature of things, no matter how much your mind wants to. You are stuck with your perfection. You're stuck with your wholeness. You're stuck with being interconnected with all things. You are stuck with being loved. So allow that to flow through you along with everything else that's there. And that's why we do grounding poses, is to fall into that heaviness that says, I'm no longer trying to hold something back, but with that steadiness, I can allow things to flow. And it does. We can absolutely take a break when things are intense, as we can say that's allowed to go to the back burner. It's allowed to be that shifting and changing. Whatever comes, it comes. As it goes, it goes. When our hearts are in that space where we are open to our own experience, our own self, we become open to that experience of others more deeply. And we do start to recognize each other by the light that exists inside instead of just our shared challenges. Say, well, there's a steady place in me, and I know there's a steady place in you. Until you find it, I'll breathe for you. There's that bright light of awareness in you, and I know it's in me. And until I find it, please breathe for me. And there is an undying place in all of us. Your last couple of breaths. If you'd like to stay here for your Shavasana, you're welcome to in any position. If you need to change the position of the legs on the wall, you certainly can. If you would like to come off of the wall or out of whatever position you are in, if you don't have a wall for Shavasana, then go ahead and draw the knees in towards your chest. Either roll to either side, come away from the wall. If you're in the room with me, just turn your heads towards the center of the room. Finding your way at home onto your backs. And giving yourself the opportunity for a final spinal twist or a final bridge pose, whatever feels like it will feel the most complementary. And again, if you are still in legs up the wall and you change your mind in 30 seconds or a minute, you'll come down off the wall. But find your Shavasana. The breath carries you, and we become aware, we're asked to become aware that you are not just this physical body, this physical mind, but you are a pranic being. You are the breath of the universe, the breath of God. The love that flows through you that began your existence does not end, never ends. Very gently bring the awareness back to your breath. your body begin to stretch and move, whatever ways serve it well. And as you're ready, draw your knees in towards your chest and roll to your right side. Taking a moment before you begin to push the floor away. Trying not to close doors in yourself, knowing that you have to open your eyes and get back out into the world. Stay soft, stay open. Come back to your upright seated position. And finding your hands coming together again, either in front of the heart center or maybe hands directly on top of the heart. Connect again to that space. However it appears to you, that space where you are able to connect to the experience of others that is similar to your own humanness, your own vulnerability, any of those things, all of those things. We'll end with just the thought, the mantra, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings embody and not embody. May all beings be happy, be free. May they find their way to that state of full absorption, into that unity, the divine love, the unconditional love. May they find their way back to that. No matter how far or how long it takes, may they find their way. And may I include myself in that I too will find my way. And if I don't know the way, maybe you'll point it out to me. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings be happy, be peaceful, be free. Close the sound of Om, deep breath. Bringing the hands together and sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste. Thank you guys so much. Have a beautiful rest of your day, beautiful rest of your week until I see you again. Smile a lot today. At everything there is to smile at. We'll see
Thank you.
Thanks, Veronica.
Thanks so much, Veronica.